Hey everybody, and welcome to Meals with Melissa, where I give you healthy versions of things that you love to eat. And I know I have family in the background. She's making some breakfast. But we've got a great recipe today. It's actually pretty simple, although it's more ingredients than I normally use, but it's still pretty easy. So I'm gonna tell you a little bit about it just really quick. It's something in between savory cheesecake and maybe something like a frittata or a quiche, right? A crustless quiche. So actually it's super simple, lots of cheese. This is definitely for someone who is low carb, but higher fats. So of course you just need to track your macros within MyFitnessPal. Okay, so I already have my oven preheating to 350. I'm using a springform pan. Now it calls for a 7-inch. All I have, I wasn't gonna go out and buy a new one. Of course, if I've got it on hand, I'm gonna use what I got. So I've got an 8-inch springform pan that I'm going to use. So I'm gonna spray that really quick. Now, not a huge fan of spray oils, but in this case, I'm going to do it super fast, but we do use the extra virgin olive oil when it comes to the sprays because vegetable oil and canola oil are horrible for you. So I'm going to spray that down just really quick so it doesn't stick. All right, so I'm going to take 15 ounces of ricotta cheese, the whole thing. It is a fairly good size portion or fairly good size finished product, so you can always break it up down into multiple meals. I'm actually going to just put this in the bowl. That was easy, right? All right, to that I'm going to add a half a cup of Parmesan cheese. Now again, you could use the, this is just the grated, which is, I just wanted to do super simple. And again, I buy this at Costco, not this one particular, but so we have plenty of it. So I'm just going to use the grated, half a cup. There we go. All right, to that, I'm going to add some, it calls for spring onion. I actually didn't get this one ready, so I'm gonna grab it just real quick. It calls for spring onion, but I was not able to find that last night, so I'm just gonna use a little bit of green onion just to add a little bit of flavor. And so let me just chop up. It calls for 2 spring onions. I'm just gonna use whatever I got here for some green onion, make it super simple. Normally I like to have all this stuff prepped in advance. Just, you know, it's been a busy morning. Had the grandbaby last night, so lots of fun. All right, so I'm just gonna chop up a little bit of this and throw it in. Now, this recipe actually, and I did make this last night, obviously, so that I could try it out. This recipe calls for dill and for lemon zest, and I have decided, oh, I know I've got grandbaby out here. I've decided to leave that out. I didn't care much for the flavor with the addition of those, so. Party in the background here. All right, so I'm gonna throw that in. Grandbaby turns 2 on Monday, so we're going to be having a party for her with lots of Minnie Mouse because that and Frozen, of course, is her favorite. All right, so I'm gonna throw that in, and to that, like I said, you can add the dill. It calls for fresh dill and some grated lemon zest, but I'm gonna leave those out. I just really didn't care for the flavor of that, so that, of course, is a choice. Not going to throw that in there, but I am going to add 2 cloves of garlic. I actually just used the Kirkland brand Costco option just because it's just easy and I already have it on hand. All right, so 1 clove of garlic on here is a half a teaspoon. So I'm going to do approximately a teaspoon. I might add just a smidge more just because I really like garlic. So I'm actually going to do a giant spoonful there. Okay. Like I said, it's a little crazy in my house this morning, so you can hear lots of people. All right, so to that, I'm actually gonna mix that up. Okay, and the nice thing is the ricotta is nice and soft, so it's easy to mix up and to incorporate. And like I said, you can add things or subtract things. It's really actually super easy to make. I don't do complicated, although at this point I'm kind of committed to trying some new stuff. I have a couple of friends that are chefs, and so if you think about it, chefs were the original nutritionists, and really because it's, you know, it's an addition of flavor and nutrients together, and it's a science all of its own. I've always been good at baking. Cooking has not really been my gig. I do what I need to, and I did learn to cook as a young adult, but now that things are, you know, so processed and so full of chemicals, I've kind of leaned to the side of, you know what, I'm going to try my own thing and make my own, cook my own foods. And not to mention, you know, some of my favorite restaurants are not only being shut down, but some of them are closing forever, which makes me extremely sad. The empath in me has had a rough time this last year. So, okay, So to that, I am going to add 2 eggs. And unfortunately, I still don't have farm fresh eggs. I wish I did. They taste so much different. Someday I will be raising my own chickens. That is on my plan. I think that especially right now with what we're seeing ongoing in the world, becoming self-sufficient is not a bad idea. Okay, so I'm gonna add some eggs and continue to mix that back up. Fortunately, I have a decent little kitchen for this, so probably a lot of you local might even recognize this kitchen. It's pretty standard for some of the houses in this area. Okay, so I'm gonna mix that in, and then I'm gonna add some grated zucchini. Now, just to give you a heads up on the zucchini, and you can still get zucchini in the store. It doesn't have to just be summer, although it's kind of fun to grow your own, but you can actually just grab it. I found it at my local grocery store. They're just tiny, and I don't know about you, I grew up thinking zucchinis were always this big, right? But when you buy them at the store, not so much. All right, so what I've done is I've already grated the zucchini, very small, very fine pieces, and I've also squeezed out the moisture because of course you don't want that excess moisture in your cheesecake because otherwise it's gonna not turn out quite as the same. So I'm gonna add that and keep mixing. And then to that, I'm going to add a little bit of salt and pepper just for flavor. And of course, you know, one of the fun things about recipes is you can tweak them to work for you. Now, I will be posting this down below so that you have this option, but Pinterest can be your friend. I find a lot of these recipes, sometimes clients give me recipes that they tried and they're amazing. Other times, most of the time I just find them on Pinterest, right? And then if there's 1 or 2 things that I know that I'm not going to utilize, like say sugar, I know how to swap that out. All right, so to that I'm gonna add just a little bit of salt and pepper. Now at my house we use pink Himalayan salt. Okay, and again, buy it in bulk. It's really easy and less expensive that way. So it calls for half a teaspoon, but I'm actually, again, because I did this last night and tasted it, I'm gonna add a little more than that. I felt like it was a little sweet and needed just a little more kick of salt. So I'm gonna add just a smidge. And then half a teaspoon of pepper. So we're going to add that and mix it up, and then we're gonna put it in our pan. There we go. All right, mixing that up. Again, I am not an accomplished cook. You have to understand that I'm doing this, so all of you that don't think that you can cook, know that you can cook. Why not try? I think it's one of the things that are very much missing from our nutrition in this day and age is that, you know, we buy so much from the store, so much of it is commercially made, processed, includes a lot of additives and preservatives which aren't healthy for us versus, you know, when you make it at home, you know, even if you decide to make a treat, like a pastry or a cake, if you make it from scratch, at least you know everything that's going into it and you can make decisions such as, am I going to use bleached white flour or am I gonna do an alternative? Because when you get it at the store, you don't always know. And honestly, if you're getting it at the supermarket, already pre-made, unless you're going to a health food store that promotes the fact that they're making something super healthy, you're probably still getting a lot of garbage in it. But of course, anything that's shelf stable, you know that's an issue as well. All right, so I'm gonna put this in my springform pan, and it's so funny, I can't even remember what I bought the pan for, but it's funny when I come up on these recipes and I go, oh, I have one of those. I have tart pans somewhere. You know, I find a recipe I really wanna try, and then I go find the tools that I need for it. All right, so I'm gonna put this in my springform pan. I've already sprayed it so that it doesn't stick. And I will admit last night when I did this, I didn't look at the springform pan, and whoever washed it and put it away last time had put the pan upside down. Yeah, that's really fun to clean when it's put incorrectly, but we made it work. All right, so you're gonna spread this out evenly because what we're gonna do is we're gonna add some goat cheese to the top. And then we're gonna actually bake it at 350 for 1 hour. And really that's as simple as it is. You'll let it cool for about 10 minutes and it'll turn out like the one that we just showed you. And I'll show you that again just a secondly. So I'm gonna do predominantly, so again, I bought some solid goat cheese and it's fine. But what I determined is you have to cut it up. You try to, it doesn't melt evenly. So I'm actually, this morning I bought some crumbled goat cheese and I'm just gonna use that instead, because I feel like I can get it a little more evenly spread out throughout the top of the cheesecake. So I'm gonna use that. You definitely want to get this evenly all over because you want that taste of that goat cheese. It just gives it a little extra kick. And I might throw on some extra of the solid, but for the most part, I figured this was an easier spread. All right, So I'm gonna throw that in the oven for 1 hour. And again, this is predominantly what it's gonna turn out like. If you use a smaller springform pan, you're gonna get a little bit taller, a little bit thicker, which is great. Either way, I think it turned out great. You can see we already tried it. We taste everything and test it out for you. So I will leave the recipe down below. Leave your comments if you have a question or if you have a recipe you would like us to try. Definitely. I get people sending me stuff all the time, which I love because then it just gives us great options. This is for everybody. This isn't to hide it away and charge people for a cookbook. This is how to live a better, healthier lifestyle overall. Now, this upcoming week, I will actually be out of town. I will be in Florida, so there will not be a Q&A Wednesday, nor a Meals with Melissa next Saturday, but we will resume normal when I get back because I love this and I love answering your questions and giving you great ideas. So have an incredible week, you guys. Have a great weekend. Hopefully you are enjoying yourself. That is Meals with Melissa. Bye for now.